To play fourth-ranked Ohio State, looking to bounce back from their embarrassing loss to Indiana the week prior. NU kept the game close by utilizing a surprisingly strong kicking game.
John Holt made one earlier from 39, 54-yard attempt, high snap, it's down, the kick sailing towards the uprights, and the kick is... good! John Holt with a 54-yard field goal to the final play of the half.
Sometimes you just got to speak it into existence, Sharpie, and if I'm Nebraska, get out of your fields and go play football.
That field goal made the score 14-6 Buckeyes heading to the locker room. Nebraska applied even more pressure to the home team as play continued in the second half.
Play action, back to throws. Howard steps, throws, pass is intercepted. Malcolm Hartzog with a pick at the 40, 35, weaving his way to the 30, 25,
Let's
20,
go, baby.
15, 10, down to the 5-yard line out of bounds. Malcolm Hartzog's fourth pick of the year, and the Huskers have it first and goal at the Buckeye 5.
Yeah, it felt like something good was going to happen because they had been staying the course.
Huskers break the huddle. Under center goes Raiola. Huskers go quick, turn, give it off to Dante, right side, leans, dives, touchdown Nebraska. Dante Dowdell puts the Big Red in front, 15-14.
After a 2-point conversion, the Big Red led 17-14. But OSU responded with a touchdown of their own a few minutes later, and the Huskers were unable to mount another drive as the clock wound down. After the 21-17 loss, Matt Rule was proud of his team's effort.
We expected to come here and win the football game. And so I say this, to me, it's so hard because you don't want it to sound like a moral victory because we lost. And we're not here to lose. We're the University of Nebraska. We're not here to lose. But in terms of the development and growth of what you're trying to build, if you want it to be sustainable, you have to do it the right way. I was proud of that football team today. I was proud. They didn't back down, and they competed. It was the first time since I've been here that I felt a championship mindset in the locker room. But for those of us who believe in the long way, the hard way, for those of us who haven't had things handed to us, for those of us who believe in building, for those people who believe in putting in an honest day's work, I hope while they're disappointed, they're proud of what they saw.
Nebraska now turns their attention to new Big Ten member UCLA. It's NU's first home game in nearly a month, and a chance for the Scarlet and Cream to get their season back on track.
It's just it's the locker room. It's the guys, it's just older guys, but it's also, everybody in that locker room, making sure that even myself as an older guy, like I've told the young guys, I hope you would get on me if I'm not, holding the standard or meeting the standard the same way I would get on you, because I'm not doing it out of spite. I'm not doing it because, I enjoy it or I'm angry. I do it because I love you and I want you to get better, and I want you, to produce for this team so you can go on and, have a better career than I did here. And, I think we're finally starting to see the tipping point of this team going in these last 4 games.
I believe everything happens to you for a reason. We were 5-3 last year. We were playing Michigan State and we lost, then we lost the rest of them, right? And so we were chasing something. We came back last week, we were playing to play. We were freed up to hey, we gotta redeem our name. We gotta play for pride, play with heart and character, and that's what you saw. So I won't talk about anything other than that this week. You learned what it looks like against Ohio State. So carry it forward, and we'll do that each and every week.
Live from the Huskers Radio Network, this is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. Husker Game Day is also brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Now, here's your host, Ben McLaughlin.
Good late morning to you. Back in our comfortable seats of Memorial Stadium. Been way too long since we've been back here for a Cornhusker football game, and today Nebraska tries to get bowl eligible by taking on new conference member UCLA, who earned their first ever Big Ten win their last time out against Rutgers. Good late morning to you from Lincoln. Ben McLaughlin, joined as always by Husker color analyst, former national champion Damon Benning, Josh Hilkeman, again pushing the buttons for us again today. We have you for the next couple of hours here on the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show. DB, welcome in. Are you a Halloween guy?
I am not. I don't mind. Like, I don't have anything against it, but it's become kind of an adult holiday. It seems like more than kids. So we have one half the neighborhood that kind of keeps it under wraps, pretty buttoned up, and then it's like you cross the street and it's this whole other mythical neighborhood. Right, that's pretty cool. It has some cool designs, and I mean, you're as apt to get a Tootsie Roll and a Hi Chew as you are a Bud Light. So it's like there's lots of different things happen on that side of the street. But not a huge Halloween guy, but it's been a quiet week because we're still in the playoffs and we stayed dialed. It wasn't too much going on.
Good. Well,
I'm picky about candy too.
That doesn't surprise me. So what is it?
I am just gummies, like gummy bear, gummy worms. I like dots. I don't like chocolate.
Do you see dots anymore?
I do.
couldn't tell you the last time I had a dot.
So this is very, very sad. It was a gift to our coaching staff last season. So they put together goodie bags to celebrate, and I still have 2 unopened boxes of dots because I haven't eaten candy in forever, but they're huge. I look at them every day, or about every other day. I have a 5-pound bag of gummy bears in my fridge in the garage that I walk by just to tease myself. 5 pounds.
Keeps you honest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, total gummy guy.
It's good for your kids that you're not a.
And
so you just don't like chocolate?
I don't at all. Not even since I was a kid. And only one of Micah, my 14-year-old, is the only one that does like chocolate. Zoe doesn't, and Caleb, they just nope. So I got that part right from a parenting standpoint.
Sure.
Everything else is a crapshoot.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got a hot candy take. That seems to be how it goes these days. And like, look, there was some coaching going on in our house of what to take out of the bowl. She's 4, so
from what I've seen
got
with
room from improvement
with your FaceTimes. She rules the roost, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, and she's the most matter of fact 4-year-old ever. Like,
I wonder where she gets that from.
I don't know. Like, it's a good question. Like, this is a true story. You've got a 4-year-old all gung ho. She's asking about trick or treating all day long. Of course, we're out there, and it's chilly. It's not cold. But we're almost done with the block, and she looks at me and she goes, "I'm done. Let's go home." Like, just out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, that's a wrap.
Had enough. How many minutes?
She made it over an hour.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but there was no like, hey, let's do 3 or 4 more. There was no 2-minute warning. Like,
threshold.
Yeah, we're
over.
Done. Take me home now, please.
Nothing wrong with conviction.
Yeah, you could tell what she was told when she went up to the doors, because then she handed out the candy when we got to our house, and she was just repeating it. Stay warm, have fun, to kids like
that
twice,
so
3 times her age. It was great. It was really, really good. But yeah, I guess to echo your sentiment to get into the show, I felt weird this week. I wasn't emotional, maybe not quite the right word, but I was still in my feels about Saturday for a large portion of the week. I was still in my feels about Coach Rule's press conference after the game, which we're going to play back here for those that missed it here in just a second. But it felt like a very crossroadsy type week. And I was trying to ask myself how and why was it that way? Well, and I think it was, you think of the last few results of Husker football and the emotional reactions we heard because of those finals helped us to get to this point. They beat Rutgers, kind of a rock fight, not a super sexy win, but it's a win, and you're starting to get it rolling a little bit. Then Indiana happens, and it had everybody asking questions, some more severe questions than others, some more dramatic questions than others, but I think we were all. None of us expected what happened in Bloomington. And then Ohio State happens, and you get a little bit of a mixed bag with program trajectory and things like that. So I think that's part of the reason why I felt the way that I did this week. Knowing what's on the line this week, coming back home, I think probably influenced that to some degree as well. And I guess I probably should have prefaced this by saying, being a host of this show, I feel like it's our responsibility to kind of say and talk about what fans are thinking. And I've got a lot of different perspectives in the last 7 days. So I think it's hard for us to just land on a certain peg and everybody be all in on that perspective. I think people are kind of all over the shop right now, especially heading into today's game. And so today's show is there's going to be a lot into it. There's going to be things that I don't necessarily want to talk about, but I kind of feel obligated to. And I'm not saying this is one of those things, but I feel like this is the obvious starting point with how we got to today. And I'm curious, you and I left the booth in Ohio State, I think kind of on the same wavelength, and Coach Rule kind of set that tone for us. But I want to kind of set the stage before I hand you the floor, DB, with the people that weren't around the team after the game and weren't on the bus and weren't on the plane. I want to kind of give some context to it, because I knew from a fan's perspective, most people were going to be like, oh, well, I'm glad they competed. I wish they would have won, but, that was good to see. People were pissed off. Yeah. Like, people were not happy that they just hung in there. Like, if you saw the looks on the players' faces, it looked like they had just lost a championship game. Like, that was the sentiment that I got, at least from the players that I was around, and the coaches and the attitude on the plane. Like, people were not happy with any type of moral victory. They felt like they should have won. And looking back, I felt like Nebraska was the better team on Saturday. And I think all this monologue to say, that all was the sticks in the fire to help me get to where I am right now.
Yeah, it was. I echo a lot of that too. This is the first time I can remember, and done broadcasting for a while, but only for the network for last handful of years, where I actually let the direction and the course of that game kind of dictate my delivery. Right, the last 6-7 minutes of that broadcast, which I go back and I listen, and I'm like, yeah, I can't believe I let this get to me the way that I did. And then I listened to the press conference, and it was rekindled, right? And I'm like, oh. And Monday and Tuesday kind of dragged along, and it's like, am I in defense of? Am I in support of? I just went back and forth. But at the end of the day, I felt like to myself, that was the first game that I can remember in a long, long time where I let my emotions get the best of me. So I felt, if it could happen to me real time, like during a broadcast, I felt like we needed to let the fans have some breathing room in terms of how they digested it, right? Because at that moment, I'm supposed to be the professional working with other professionals, and I let it get to me. I can imagine what was going on in the fan base. And there was anger, and there was some hurt, and then there was some disbelief, and then there's this like kind of come to Jesus rallying moment, like, oh man, maybe we are pretty good. And then you're mad again because you feel like you left it on the table. But I think it was interesting, and I felt like Coach Rule kind of set the tone. Because for the brilliance of the post-game presser, he came back on Monday after the apology from the Big Ten, and it was amazing how he took the high road. Hey, officiating's a tough job. Sometimes things get over-officiated. There's like this narrative, and you have to set it. And it was just like, and then he even said something to the effect of, hey, I said what I said last week at the presser. We're going to move on from that. Like, like he basically said, hey, this is my Normandy. I made my stand. This is it. I won't bring it up again. So then you felt like, you know what, we should probably flush it and move on, because that's what you want this football team to do. And I think to the good or to the bad of how an outcome comes, you want the same rules to apply in your process. You get your 24 hours, you recalibrate, and you try to set the goal for what's going to happen the following week, and that's kind of where I find myself now.
Well, and you weren't the only one that was emotional. I feel like every Husker fan, was emotional in some type of way with that game, because, and I think the reason why, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we felt Nebraska should have won that game. It wasn't like we were happy they kept it close, or I think maybe going into the game you were hoping that it was going to be close. You were hoping it wasn't going to be Bloomington 2.0. But if you watched how that game unfolded, Nebraska should have won that game. Yeah. They were the better team on Saturday, and I think that's part of the reason why we were so emotional or mad or whatever feeling you had, because everything was amplified. The flags were amplified. The missed spots were amplified. The chaos that was the targeting, the headset slam by Ryan Day, like that whole 5 to 10 minute in real time span felt like that was going to determine the outcome of the game. And I think everything was tenfold, knowing what was on the line. If Nebraska were to win that game, it was finally going to be that massive hurdle that we jump as a program. It felt almost as though the last 6 to 8 years were riding on that game, and this was the cultivating moment for this staff and this fan base. I was going to be like, this is it. This is where we move on.
Yeah, that's what makes it such a high degree of difficulty, because you don't want to. I can't even remember how Coach Rule put it. He said, "Proud but not satisfied." So you're thinking to yourself, okay, we were good enough to win. You had the ball in a one-score game. I mean, we were referencing when Nebraska was ahead in a one-score game, and kind of the Ohio State fan base seemingly disappearing in some sections of that stadium. And it's like, wow, we're here. Like, we belong. We don't have to have this conversation again. And then you get into, like, the reality of the moment. You had the ball with a chance to win the game against a top 2, 3, 4 team in the country, and it got away. So then it was like, that was nice, but we should have won.
Yeah.
Like that was like the duality of the moment, because even on social media, you're sitting right next to me. We're doing the early show together, and it's like, wow, the vibe, the negativity is just the, hey, are you guys drinking yet? Or it's going to be a long day. Or, you know, you send out a picture of the team on the 50-yard line, and it's like, well, why isn't the coach in the huddle? I'm like, I don't know. It's a still. Like, I didn't wait until he was talking to it just, the vibe wasn't very, it wasn't very positive. So the running the gamut of emotions after Saturday is definitely understandable. I'll be very, very curious. I can't wait to walk the field before we do the pregame hit with just to see if I can. It's challenging, right? I just try to get a gauge on where I think the temperament is. I said last week I felt like Jamari Butler and Gabe Ervin kind of set the tone for how they were, their preliminary stretching out on the field, kind of taking a walk. I was like, wow. And JB seems to be pretty confident, right? And I like trying to gauge that, being out on the field ahead of time.
And I think that's, again, how that game started, as we all know, wasn't ideal. But then the shot in the arm that the defense gave the team, I think it set up the whole rest of the day with not just how we were feeling, but how the team was feeling as well. We've alluded to it a few times, so I want to play it now for those that either missed it or forgot. But I think this is a really important press conference statement that Coach Rule made. And I know we're talking a lot about last week, but I think in order to set up this week, we have to work through what happened last week. And there's no better way to do it than hear from the guy leading the program. So again, here's Coach Rule's part of his press conference from last week and kind of his messaging to not just his team, but the media and the fans as well.
I think I've been pretty consistent in saying, to you guys, I think the guys do a great job during the week. It's getting to these moments and saying, here we go again. I'm just, again, I don't want anyone to take anything I say the wrong way, because everything I say is with peace and love. But when they haven't won, and then the commentary around them is always pretty like, hey, this isn't good enough. They're in a culture where all they hear is like, this isn't good enough. And so how do you get them through that? You push them through that. It's just what it is. Like, you push them through that. And so we always work hard. I've never had a time where I thought the guys didn't work hard. But I thought they went out there. I mean, the game couldn't have started any worse. I mean, it's like, holy smokes. And the defense took the field like last year and said, let's go get a stop. They got to stop. But I thought it was before the game, and I thought it was at halftime. Really at halftime, I told them. Because last week I said some different things to them at halftime. And this week at halftime I said, this is what it's supposed to look like. If I start worrying about the results only, and you had a coach, you had Coach Osborne, who all he talked about was the process and not the results. I mean, everybody knows what it's supposed to look like. Coach Osborne taught us. He showed us. Like, worry about the process. And so, to me, the way it felt at halftime was the process. Like, they were excited to get back out there and play. They were not like, oh man, I can't believe I can't believe they called OP offensive pass interference on that play. They don't worry about that, which a lot of times our guys have worried about. And you always got me saying, like, just play. What's next? Just play. What's next? And so I felt like a lot of the things we talk about took hold today. And that to me is something I feel relieved. I feel despondent that we lost the game. I thought we were going to win the game. I feel beat up for the guys. But, I know when I say these things, a lot of people are probably going to take them the wrong way. I also know, like, across the country, I tell Troy, like, I got college coaches who text me sometimes, like, hey, Matt, I listen to your press conferences every week because I'm really, honestly, doing my best for people who want to hear it. Not pick it apart, but want to hear it, trying to give everyone a step-by-step picture of what we're trying to do. It's easy to pick apart. But, like, I'm just trying to, like, lay it out there for people who love coaching and love kids. Do you know how hard it is to, like, come up here every week and talk about what went wrong without ever making a kid look bad? Like, I listen to coaches all the time talk about, we got to execute. That means your players aren't very good. When coaches say we just got to execute better, they're throwing it on the kids. And just, we stand up here and we try so hard to give everyone a true picture, because one thing I love about Nebraska fans is they love football. They want to know the hows, the whats, the whys. And I listen to the people I trust. Like, I called Coach Osborne on Sunday. I said, Coach, you got 5 minutes for me? What do you think? Coach Osborne and Coach Solis came to practice on Tuesday. Coach, And the old things are the real things, are the good things. And so I'm only saying this now because I want our players, if they just listen to this press conference, to know how truly, truly, truly excited I was to be in that locker room with them. I didn't have to be a cheerleader today. I didn't have to be like, come on, you can do this. Like, they were like, get out of the way. And we've had moments like that. That was 60 minutes of that today. Dylan went into the tent before the last drive. I'm like, hey, Heine, get ready to go. And Dylan comes back out. He's like, let's go. And, Dylan didn't want to just be in the game. He wanted to go win the game, right? And it got really, really, really loud. So we had the false start, and we don't miss a play. But so the football will get better. The football will continue to get better. But make no mistake, the hardest thing is building a culture of championship caliber expectations without winning. There's a lot of guys that have taken a lot of jobs that are already winning, and they keep it going. I should probably try that sometime. But this to me is why the Lord put me on this earth. Like, to work with young people and to have them raise their expectations. And it's why these guys are here. I mean, that's Dylan, Jacory. They could have gone somewhere where they were already winning. They came here to build it. So I'm proud of them. And I say all this because I hope fans are disappointed, but I hope they're proud of them. Now, if we don't do it again next week, Mitch, to your point, if we go out there next week and we're front runners again, then it was all for naught. Like, this is a step. And it has to be where we are now, that we play this way every week. The football has to be better, but anyway, my take.
A lot to unpack. Most of it we've addressed already, but I wanted to play that again for the folks that missed it. And something that we're going to talk about a little bit more in our next segment. But the crossroads, Damon, and I guess the whole point to this opening segment here is we are in the process. We're in the thick of blending the process, which you and I talk about up here every single Saturday, of doing one thing at a time, focus on what's in front of you, with, at the same time, everything that we've dealt with as a fan base for the last decade, and knowing what a signature win would have meant. So you're right in the crosshairs of big picture and everyday, like a tornado all happening at the exact same time. And so it's hard and a challenge to decipher what's next, how should we be feeling, what progress is being made, what are valid concerns, all those big picture, those big questions that are asking. We're in a weird state, and that leads us all to today. Yeah. Like, everything is pointing to this game in front of us with everything we've talked about the last 24 minutes.
It feels like, and I'm the guy that makes fun of, like, every week seemingly being a referendum on the program. But this one does feel a little different, doesn't it? Because we kind of laid it out there last week emotionally. You're talking about process versus outcomes and kind of where the rubber meets the road. And there's no other real litmus test along the way other than to play the game, right? And the game is up today. So I'm excited for it. I think it's a tricky matchup. I think it's a tough matchup in some spots. I think it's very favorable and some others, and we'll get to that later on in the opponent preview. But this one, it should be fun. I think these guys seemingly this week are chomping at the bit to get back out there. And I think this one feels a little different because it seems like the guys want to not defend, they want to represent the statements from their head coach at the podium on Saturday. That's kind of the feel that I get right now.
It's like you're playing 21 in basketball in your driveway, and you get 21, and now you have to prove it, right? You get the ball at the top of the key, and you got to make. That's, to me, what it feels like a little bit. Yeah. We'll get into this was kind of the first step, but now what's become of all that next this week, right? Focusing on UCLA, hearing what Coach Rule just said about do it again next week. The locker room sound is out. What he said to the team that was one of the first things he told the team after the game was, hey, do it again next week. What's been the process this week? What's been the mood of the team this week? How are they challenging themselves for UCLA Bruins, who are coming off their first conference win in their school history? We're off and rolling here on the Kodak Husker Game Day Show, brought to you by our friends at Cornerstone Bank, committed to providing you game-changing solutions for your financial needs. Bank on a solid foundation. Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. We got plenty more on the show. Stay with us.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
Gary's Quick Steak is 100% sirloin and cooks from frozen in minutes.
Hi, my name is Gary Rower. I developed America's fastest cooking Philly steak from my 2 cheesesteak restaurant chains, one of which became a top 100 chain in the country. Faster means more great tasting meals in minutes. I promise you, if you try it, you're absolutely going to love it. My Quick Steak can be found in stores near you or buy online.
Look for Gary's Quick Steak at your local grocery and club stores.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Hi, it's Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald.
And I'm Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, listen, HuskerExtra.com and the Husker Extra mobile app have the best coverage of Nebraska sports.
Our reporting team shares features and analysis of all Husker sports, along with the latest recruiting news and more.
Plus, Husker Extra subscribers have access to our exclusive podcast, The Showdown, where we share our latest insights and expectations.
Go to HuskerExtra.com or search Husker Extra in your app store.
Download and subscribe today.
Being game day ready means bringing the diehard passion, all in, all the time. And now you can show your Husker pride everywhere you go with the Husker Visa debit card, free with FNBO free checking. Gear up, game on, and give it up for the Big Red every time you pay. The Husker Visa debit card, only at FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Bring it. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Shop Genesis of Southwest Omaha for your next luxury sedan or SUV. From the captivating Genesis G70 to the refined elegance of the Genesis GV80, our exhilarating lineup delivers unrivaled performance. Right now, lease the 2025 Genesis GV 72.5 Turbo all-wheel drive for just $499 per month. Get started online at southwestomahagenesis.com today. 36 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $4,999 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee. Do it signing.
To be a part of Nebraska Medicine.
Hi, welcome.
Is to be a part of something extraordinary.
Nebraska Medicine, how may I help you?
Because these are the doors that open doors.
How are you?
To growth and opportunity for each other and for our community.
That went really well.
For those who know that the academic experience.
You know what? I agree.
The life experience that you get here is beyond what you can get anywhere else. And that's exactly why here is where you belong. Join us at nebraskamed.com/careers. Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary.
Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification on the Huskers Radio Network. You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Alongside Damon Benning, I'm Ben McLaughlin inside our Akrs Broadcast Center. Brought to you by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Also need to thank our friends at Blue Cross and Blue Shield. It's time to lock in your health coverage for 2025. Choose a champion for everyday health, rooted right here in Nebraska. Choose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. DB, a lot of talk in our opening segment about last week, the fallout, I guess, from last week with handling emotions. But to me, I think with that comes a certain level of appreciation with where we are, being able to have that conversation, being able to get to that point with Ohio State. And with that kind of brings with it the fire of the opportunity of today. Yeah. And I think that's kind of why I wanted to start with it, because I'm not trying to dwell on what happened last Saturday, but I think that all leads up to how I'm feeling right now. Like, I can't wait for Nebraska to put the ball back on the tee with UCLA and get a chance to get bowl eligible, get that monkey off the back, kind of end that conversation and continue to make those strides forward. But I have to imagine if I'm feeling that way, if you're feeling that way, the team has to be feeling that way also.
Yeah, that's what makes it so exciting, because the next opportunity you have to answer any questions is playing the game. Nobody wants to hear about how practice went or another good week of practice or, they're moving around well or any of that, right? The real test is once that thing kicks off about 2:34 today, and I think those guys are chomping at the bit. Just to hear guys talk about, the having fun and playing fast and being loose in practice and kind of just letting it rip. I'm hoping that's what we see a lot of today when UCLA takes the field.
One thing that popped into my head this whole week when we're going through everything was a clip from the preseason during the Chasing 3 series when Isaac Gifford addressed the team and he started going through the reasons why he came back to Nebraska. And I feel like it's moments like this where guys like Ike and Ty and you name the leader, the guy that the guys that have been through the real struggle as a program, this is what they want to do. This is where the program can change course, and these are the opportunities that they want to put the Husker pads back on for.
Yeah, and they're such easy guys to root for too, because they've been through it. Been a little maligned. And sometimes it's in defense of, and then it's like, oh, hey, they're ours again. And then it's like, well, we got to defend ourselves again. And then it's like, oh, hey, they're ours again. And listen, when you hear guys like that take the podium, and my affinity for Ike, I'm hoping for the best today, and I couldn't be more excited, and I know they feel the same way.
When you look at some of the big picture things into small picture things that we've been talking about, like, walk through us, DB, as a player when you have an emotional game like that, and then you start to deal with just the realities, the iPads on the plane, the ice bags on the elbows, your schedule, your lifting, your running, how that process just kind of automatically clicks back into your head regardless of outcome.
I think the first thing that kicks in is usually accountability. What could I have done differently to change the outcome? And then you start there. And after you get to the accountability part, you fall back in love again with the process. All right, well, how'd we get here? What's it take to get me to this? What has it taken to get me to this point? And then you want the practical application of it. And the practical application of it, B-Mac, is getting on the field again. And I know that those guys got to be thinking, man, just give us another crack at it. Just give us another crack at it. Our coach kind of rallied for us. Right, we saw the long, extended pause and the thought process and I would guess Coach Rule was probably thinking, do I want to go here? Do I really want to make myself vulnerable and go here in this press conference? And he did, and I think the part where he said, I want my players to know, they heard it. They heard it. And as a player, when you get through that accountability flush, you're thinking, all right, I'm going to go get my guys back. And I think that's how you look at it as a player.
You can hear all that. The coaches can say all that, and that's all great, but that doesn't happen. You don't get that reaction without the trust aspect of it.
100%.
Where as a player, does that come from? Does the message have meaning, so to speak?
Oh, yeah, and that's a fantastic question. I think it happens. I think it's in the off season. It's in the mat drills. It's in the first couple of meetings he had when he got here. It's in the meetings with Ty Robinson and Nash and Ike and those guys when they get ready to come back for a senior season, or Bullock, where you say to yourself as a player, man, that guy's got my best interests at heart. I trust him. He wants the best for me. I trust him. He wouldn't say the things that he says to me if he didn't want the best for me. I trust him. And so once you have that, once I know that you're for me, that's just when it clicks. And I think there's this mythical kind of magical, but when it happens, real practical moment when the words become a lifestyle. Right, when the words become a lifestyle, and you can say, "Yeah, you know what? I don't have to please. I don't have to perfect. I don't have to perform. You're with me regardless." It's just freeing, and I hope that's what we see when the guys take the field. It's not about the bull streak. It's not about getting the 6. It's about the opportunity to defend family and be with family, because that's how they talk. Right? It's not some magical coach speak. They're for one another. You get a chance to go out there and be with brothers, and I think that's the part that they enjoy most.
To me, as a coach, it has to be liberating too, because you can deliver a message with meaning, and you can see the intent behind your players' eyes, and it's not met with eye rolling.
Yeah,
it's not met.
That's
with,
that trust thing, right? Because I know you're for me.
It's not met with, oh God, this guy's up here just blowing smoke again. Because that is the definition of counterproductive, and I feel like that's probably happened at times over the last few years. But you don't get better and make strides as a program when everyone's not pulling the rope in the same direction. When it starts to become about me and not us, that's when you start to see the fundamental breakdowns, and you start to see the lack of preparation bleed into what we're going to see today.
Yeah, the practical application. I love that. Like the me or the we greater than me. That's a trust thing. Like, that's a trust thing. If that's really the case, and all that sloganeering sometimes we see on T-shirts and and mission statements at companies and stuff, rubber hits the road, right? Then we talk about it. Those times are the actual competition.
Then you marry that with something that we talked about last week. You can feel some type of way during the week, but let's put our jerseys on and strap it up and go play.
That's the beauty.
That's when it all kind of comes together, and you can see corners turn and players make plays, and that's when the vision really takes shape.
Yeah, just a degree. That's why I love football. It's just I like all sports, and for varying reasons, right? Baseball, you'll hear me talk about, it's about managing failure. And if you can do something 1/3 of the time, people think you're pretty good, and the time in between that you have to play mental games if you kick it around or you swing and a miss. But football, why do I love football? Because it's one of the few sports where you can solve problems with aggression. And it's okay to do so. Solve problems with aggression. And I get to do it with a lot of other guys. That's the beauty of the sport, and that's what makes the games what they are.
And you're exactly right, because you think about even just an 11 group defense, let's just say, and you go from guys like Ty to Deshaun Singleton to Bullock to Bear. Everybody's had Buford, Hill. Everybody's had a different path to get to where they're standing, and they can all handle it the same way. I had a feeling going back and on the rewatch and watching Deshaun Singleton, he had not played good football for the last couple of weeks. There was a few plays where he let some breakdowns out on Ohio State Buckeyes.
Getting down in the box, wasn't he?
And you could tell by his reaction after he got dudes to the ground, like, I'm going to make up for what I've been doing and what I haven't been doing, and everyone on all the other 10 guys that I'm lined up with is going to see and hear about it.
Yeah, he's looking at you and he's saying, hey, coach, you know what? I got your back. Appreciate you riding with me. I got you. That's trust.
And it was kind of fun to see, because I almost saw it real time, and I was like, I feel like I'm going to need to go back and rewatch what I just saw. But there was a few plays where he just did not care about his body more so than the body he was inflicting. And I think that's that aggression stuff that you were talking about.
And when guys lay it on the line like that, there's nothing. It's just you get like warm fuzzies when you see other guys lay it on the line, especially considering, he didn't feel good during the week. He had to go through concussion protocol, got off to a little bit of a slow work week, and then you see him come out and put his body on the line like that. I mean, that's what it's about.
We've been talking for over an hour now, or 40 minutes, I should say, and one thing that we haven't talked about yet, and putting it on the line, you got to talk about your quarterback. Yeah. Dude's been dealing with an ankle, knew he probably had the ability to run at times on Saturday with the two deep look and man-to-man coverage, and that's going to give him avenues and lanes to run. As a freshman, trying to make statements to older guys like, hey, I know I haven't been playing my best football, but I'm going to do things that maybe I wouldn't normally do to win this football game.
Yeah, he's such just his emotional maturity is off the charts. And watched him warm up. I remember I came back up to the booth.
We talked about it.
I just watched him. He just looked good. And he's going through his little individual warm-up drills to get himself ready, and came back up there. I'm like, and B-Mac, he's moving around well. He's pretty dialed. I didn't see a 38-yard scramble or some of the other stuff he
How
did.
How could you, Damon?
That he did early, but you just got – he's very cognizant of what's going on around him, right? He's got a pretty high level of self-awareness, and he breaks off the long run, and he's scrambling a little bit. And you know what I think the next phase of that today is? Because I think there's some plays that they can make on the outside. I think he's going to take his shots today too.
Yeah, and had a couple, and I know there's some throws back that he wants back from Ohio State as well, but – I think it's not just a defensive mindset. It bleeds over the offense and special teams as well. I mean, you got a kicker going out who hadn't had hardly any success at all at the collegiate level, at this level, come out and just keep Nebraska single-handedly in the game with his foot.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's like we looked at each other. You remember that? It was,
yeah.
It's not like I was falling in love for the first time or something, but I gave you that look like –
what?
It's like it's terrible radio unless you're in the stream, which you should be. But I'm looking at you like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Then he gets another one, and it's like, whoa.
50-plus yarder.
The 54-yarder, you're thinking.
Is this a good idea? Yeah, it was a good idea.
That,
yeah,
so
it was a good idea.
I don't know, man. We're just trying to put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that foot is magic again today. I have a feeling it could be a big one today with what we could see with weather and other impacts around it. Speaking of variables outside the stadium, how about traffic? There's a lot of foot traffic, people walking around. Without doubt, it's been almost a month since we've been in the stadium. People excited to see their home Huskers again. Let's go ahead and get our first check of the traffic. Here's Trooper Brett.
Yeah, good morning, Husker fans. Traffic is flowing well in most areas as we get ready to welcome our Huskers back to Lincoln. A couple of disabled vehicles on I-80 to keep an eye out for as you approach the Capitol. For our eastbound folks, we have reports of a vehicle at mile marker 397.5. And for those of you westbound, look for a stalled vehicle near mile marker 417. If you're coming to Lincoln from the east or looking to avoid congestion, you can exit 27th Street to avoid delays on I-180. Traffic is beginning to build slightly on Highway 6 as you approach Lincoln, so if that is your preferred route, plan accordingly. If you're driving into Lincoln from the west, consider taking Highway 77 southbound to Rosa Parks Way. Fans, just like football pads, your car is designed to protect you in a collision, and your seatbelt is the MVP. To buckle up every trip and every time, I'm Trooper Brett with the Nebraska State Patrol Traffic Report on the Huskers Radio Network.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Tackle the toughest tasks on your farm with Brand Agricultural Products. They've got a complete lineup of grain handling and tillage equipment to take you from the preseason all the way to the playoffs or harvest. All their ag equipment is North American built and backed by an extensive network of dealerships that provide support over the long run. Lead the field with Brand Agricultural Products. Visit Brand.ca for more.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump
and save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88.
Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
Hi, it's Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald.
And I'm Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, listen, HuskerExtra.com and the Husker Extra mobile app have the best coverage of Nebraska sports.
Our reporting team shares features and analysis of all Husker sports, along with the latest recruiting news and more.
Plus, Husker Extra subscribers have access to our exclusive podcast, The Showdown, where we share our latest insights and expectations.
Go to HuskerExtra.com or search Husker Extra in your app store.
Download and subscribe today.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Feel like you're always on the run? Me too. As an independent financial professional, I help all kinds of busy people. Young families planning for college, couples working toward retirement, people securing their legacy. Wherever you are in life, Emeritus can help you get more out of life with insurance, employee benefits, and financial services. You're moving fast. Let's help make sure you're on the path to a fulfilling life. Find your next step at emeritus.com. Insurance products issued by Emeritus Life Insurance Corp.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Something big is happening at Hy-Vee. We've just lowered thousands and thousands of prices on thousands and thousands of items in every aisle and in every department. Online, too. And on many of your favorite products, we've even matched prices with some of the biggest discount stores in the country. Because we get it, times are still tough. So we'll continue to work hard to bring you new lower prices on thousands of items. Things are looking different at Hy-Vee. Come see for yourself.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of built Ford tough.
Get a 2024 Ford Super Duty for 1.9% with Ford credit financing, or get $2,000 bonus cash only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome into this week's Cornhusker Conversation presented by Woodhouse. I'm Jessica Cootie, and this week joined by one of our favorites, Marquise Buford Jr. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, coming off a performance last week where defense really locked in, what went into the performance and what you guys were able to do against that Ohio State offense?
I would honestly just say our preparation throughout the week and, just us believing in ourselves, coming off a tough loss like we had the week prior and, just really getting back to our roots and what we believe in as a defense and as a team really helped us to have the confidence and go out there and play with the number 4 team in the country. And, we didn't get the outcome we wanted, obviously, but just to go out there and have fun and play free with the guys you love, it was really fun.
You've been here now for a few seasons and have been part of some close losses. How have you felt like, because it seemed like as well as you guys played, you weren't happy with with the scoreboard. And so how has that mindset maybe switched a little bit for this group and that we're not just okay with being there and competing with these kinds of teams?
It's just the guys in the locker room and the coaching staff, honestly. It's a huge culture of competition going on in our building right now. And, everybody wants to win. So we're not going to be just satisfied with coming close to good teams because we believe that we're a good team as well. So why not us be able to win? Is basically our thought process for everything.
That's great. How about just, the response when you give up a big play? Good offenses are going to do that, right? They're going to get a play from time to time. When that happened on Saturday, it didn't seem to phase the defense at all that, hey, we're going to lock in, we're going to get back out there. How important is that mindset of just, hey, we got to move on to the next?
It's really important. It's 60 minutes of pure football, and they have good athletes too. They got recruited out of high school just like we got recruited out of high school. So, times are going to happen where the other team makes plays. But, if you sit down and you dwell on it and you put your head down, then they're just going to keep making plays on you. But, our response is, all right, they made this play. What can we fix now so it doesn't happen again? And, that what's next mentality is big for us. Coach Rule's been emphasizing that since he's gotten here. And, we've started to see it really take over more and more and more as we've gone through the season.
Could you just maybe describe what it's like to run out on the field on Saturdays with guys that you have played so much football with the Ty Robinsons, the Nashes, the Jamaris, the Isaac Giffords, Deshaun, just so many guys that have played so much football, what that feels like?
It feels like, I don't even know if I could put it into words. It's special though, we came in together, some of us come in together, and, we went through a lot of stuff together. Coaching changes to getting to a new facility to, now we're the guys, we're the leaders of the team. And it's just special, especially when I see those guys making plays on the field and, doing their thing. I love every second of it, and I don't take any of it for granted, obviously, but, I just love it. It's surreal, honestly.
What does it say about this group? Because you said it. I mean, you've been through so much, and in this day and age, a lot of guys could have left and found other situations, but the fact that this group stuck together and stuck it out and wanted to be together throughout that time, what does it say about this group of guys?
We're just some tough, gritty guys. Honestly, that's the only way we like to describe ourselves, is tough and gritty are the two words we love to use. We're fighters, and we don't back down from anything. And, a lot of people could have left. A lot of people did leave. But, the guys who stuck around and had faith in the process and everything we have going on here, it's starting to show. Everything's starting to show.
For you personally, this season, you moved around, played a little bit of everywhere. How do you feel like the season's gone for you, and what made you comfortable in being able to do whatever this coaching staff asked of you?
Honestly, just, my preparation and how much I care and think about the game. I'm constantly trying to find new ways to get better and find new ways to learn how to do stuff, and asking coaches about how I can, get better at this, get better at that. And, football is football for me, and I'm going to line up and play hard wherever they put me. So just using my competitiveness and also, my brain to be able to, learn different positions and learn what to do in different spots has really helped me a lot.
How has it been for you being a leader? I mean, we hear a lot about just that role that you've taken on and how important that's been. How much have you enjoyed it, and what has that process been like for you?
It's really fun, and sometimes it's like, I'll get on somebody and I'll be like, man, was I too hard on them, or I could have toned it down a little bit, but then I just think no, sometimes it takes a good yelling at or a good chewing out to get somebody to, get to their potential. And sometimes it just takes a little hug, a little smack on the back, hey, you got it, bro, to get them to get to their potential. But I've loved every part of it. And, I couldn't ask for a better group of guys to come out here and, ask me to be their leader and ask me to help lead this team, because everybody's all in. We don't really have a lot of situations where, sometimes guys make it uncomfortable for leaders to, do their job and lead the team. But, this group of guys, they buy into everything. And, they know that everything I'm saying and everything Gift's saying and everything, the leaders on the team are saying is coming from a place of love at the end of the day. And, they just try to soak it all in.
What did it mean to you to be one of those guys that got one of those single digits?
Man, it meant a lot to me, honestly. Last year I didn't really have a chance to, compete or, I wasn't practicing or anything to be able to earn a single digit. So I'm not saying that's all I was focused on this offseason, but it was a big part of what, pushed me this offseason. Like, all right, I want these guys to recognize that, hey, I'm going to work hard every day. I'm going to come, ready to go every day. And, if somebody's having trouble with something, I'm going to be the one to pick them up or help them out.
Speaking of that, so you have the injury, and then they hold you out to play for the last 4 games of the season. That process of working through that, of getting hurt and then rehabbing and then getting back out on the field, what kind of perspective did that give you that was different before the injury?
It honestly just made me a lot more grateful for football. I've been playing it my whole life. My first time getting hurt here, it was kind of like in the off season, so I just missed some conditioning stuff and stuff like that, but I didn't really miss actual games or meaningful periods of the season. But last year it was hard for me. It was really tough. I would be lying if I said it wasn't. But just the guys around me and the coaches and the whole staff honestly helped me keep it together. And it made me never want to take anything for granted again, because just that fast it can all be taken away from you. And every day I go out there to practice, no matter how tired I am, how my body's feeling. If I'm feeling like I don't feel like doing it, I just think hey, a year ago you couldn't do it. So
great. Yeah, great perspective there. How has it been to have younger brother in the room, Mario, with you guys this year?
Oh man, he's been doing really well. I love having him in the room. I'm probably the hardest on him than I am on anybody on the team. And I will say I never feel bad for it.
That's the one guy you don't feel bad for?
I never feel bad for getting on him. But, just being able to give him all the tips and nuggets that, I received from older guys like Cam Taylor-Britt when I first got here, who kind of took me under his wing, and making sure that, he's not just focused on everything that's on the field. He still has to stay locked in on school. He still has to stay locked in on doing the right things off the field. So just trying to help him grow up has honestly been my biggest goal for this season.
Not a lot of guys can say that they played with their brother. Have you guys thought about that, how special it is, just the opportunity to get to do that?
Honestly, I feel like I haven't really wrapped my head all the way around it yet. I feel like it's probably going to be something after the season, looking back at some of the games where we're lined up by each other and stuff like that, that is going to be some wow, we really did that. And, it's special. Growing up, I've always, joked with him, hey, if we were on the same team, I'd be kicking your butt in practice. And, now it finally happened, and I couldn't be more happy to do it anywhere than here at Nebraska.
How proud are you of just the progress that he's made? He's a name that guys have said a lot, hey, look out for this guy, and just the potential that he has. How proud are you as the older brother that what he's been able to do for himself?
Yeah, I hope he doesn't hear this, but I'm extremely proud of him, It's not easy transitioning from high school to college, and then, he's been tossed in the fire a few times this year, So I couldn't be more proud of him. I just hope he keeps going and keeps progressing through this process.
We heard a lot about how much you helped on the recruiting front of things, but I'm sure you also wanted him to do what was best for him. So why did you believe that this would be a good fit for him? How much did it mean to you that he did want to come here and wear the same uniform as you?
Honestly, once I met Coach Rule and the rest of the staff here, I knew this was the place that, he needed to be, regardless of where he wanted to go. Obviously I felt like it's your choice, bro. But just the leadership, the accountability, the process, honestly, that we have here, I feel like it not only helps us be a good football team, but it's the best way to shape us into the young man that we're going to want to be in the future. And, I feel like I'd be doing him a disservice sending him somewhere where hey, I don't really know how they do things over there. I'm not really sure if they're doing it like this, but I know for a fact what we're doing here is going to work. And, you know, I was on him in the recruiting. You know, anytime he went on visits anywhere, I was always calling, FaceTiming my mom while they're there. Like, hey, yeah, that looks nice in that green or whatever he's in right now, but you know you're coming here. So just enjoy your little visit. Get ready to come back to Lincoln.
I love that. I love that. How special has it been for your family to get to have this too? I mean, if he was on a different team, I'm sure they'd be splitting their time, but we've talked about your dad, and Greg and I talk about your dad, how much we enjoyed getting to know him, but just the fact that it's a family affair for your entire family. I know they mean a lot to you. They get to experience it together. How special is that?
Man, that's probably the most special part about all of it. Just seeing how happy my mom and dad get when, you know, they see us on the field together after the games. They're like, man, you guys were lined up together. Anytime we're on the field together, they're always in the stands, snapping pictures of us together. But it's really cool, you know. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else besides my brother, and I'm really glad how happy it makes my parents at the same time.
What role did your mom and dad play in you getting here and being the person and player that you are today?
They had the biggest impact, I would say, just from how they raised me. Honestly, it kind of all fits right into how Coach Rule runs this team. You know, we're going to be disciplined. We're always going to do what we're supposed to do. And, you know, punctuation matters here. We can't be late to anything. If you're late by even 30 seconds, you're late. And, you know, that's how it always was in my household growing up. They always held us accountable for everything. There were no talking back, no excuses for anything. Like, if you got something you have to do, you get it done. And, you know, I feel like that set me up really well, especially for, like, once I got to college my freshman year. It wasn't really as much as, like, a culture shock for me, or, like, I felt like I had to grow up a lot. I felt like I kind of could just focus on football and school like I had been doing in the past and, you know, just take the right steps into getting to where I am today.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll never forget when you got your first black shirt. What has it meant to you to have a black shirt and to be one of the black shirts here for Nebraska football? Man,
I love being a black shirt. You know, just being able to say, like, hey, I went to Nebraska and I got my black shirt. It's just different for me, especially like looking at the guys in the past that, you know, used to get their black shirts, and even like my freshman year, the guys that had their black shirts in practice, they really used to set the tone for the team. And honestly, I just love being able to carry that out, you know, and keep the tradition going.
Oh, that's great. Okay, let's circle back and talk about this week. You talked about the preparation earlier that you guys took into the Ohio State game. What was different? How have you, I guess, tried to duplicate what you did last week into this week to be able to build off of what you guys did at Ohio State?
Honestly, we're trying to double down on what we did last week because obviously it wasn't enough for us to get the win. And, you know, we're not really trying to, I wouldn't say duplicate it, but as much as we're trying to get better from last week, you know? We don't want our last Tuesday to be the same as this Tuesday. We wanted it to be better. We didn't want our Wednesday practice to be just as good as last Wednesday. We wanted it to be better. So just focusing on getting better every day, I feel like is the best way to prepare yourself for battle. Because if you're making just the smallest adjustments on like your technique or like your eyes in the game, it helps you a lot more than people think. And you know, that's all we're focused on all the time is just finding something to fix and get better at every day, you know?
So what are going to be the keys for this defense against this UCLA offense?
We're going to have to play fast. We're going to have to play physical. And, you know, everybody's just going to have to be a lion that day is all it simply boils down to. Our coaches tell us a lot. It's players, not plays, you know, and we believe that. We believe no matter on the defensive end, no matter what Coach White calls us to play in the defense, if all 11 of us do our job and all 11 of us are playing fast and flying to the ball, then nobody can do anything with us.
Last thing it's Military Appreciation Day, and it's always a special day here at Nebraska. I know you guys get a visit every year from veterans. What can you guys take away from that? How much does it mean to you to kind of take a step back and celebrate some of those men and women that have done so much for our country?
First off, thank them. We thank those guys a lot, because, we couldn't come here every day and do what we do unless, they made the sacrifices to leave their families, leave their houses, and go to some foreign place that they have no clue what's going on about and, lay it all on the line. And honestly, that's kind of been the message that we've been trying to do, put out to our team is to, just lay it all out on the line, Coach Rule used an analogy a few weeks ago. He said, burn the boats. Like, once you make a decision to do something and you're going to go do it, don't leave any doubt, don't leave any way to escape from getting what you said you were going to get done. And all of those veterans that's what they did in their lives, They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what was going to happen to them once they went to war or whatever they did in that capacity. And, we just want to, while we're showing how grateful we are for them, also, while we're showing how grateful we are for them, we want to also, take away from their sacrifices and everything they've put into what they're doing and, put it into our own game. Obviously football is nothing like that at all, but, the mindset and the mentality of what you have to do to get prepared to go into that situation is kind of the same.
Great stuff as always. Always a pleasure sitting down with you. Appreciate it. Best of luck this week.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to Marquise Buford Jr. for sitting down with us for this week's Cornhusker Conversation presented by Woodhouse. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Husker Athletics.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Set. Hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TNL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TNL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TNL Irrigation are like no other.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
Hey Husker fans, Coach Rule here, thanking you for your incredible support of Nebraska football. We're working every day to bring championship football back to Nebraska. Just as important is your contribution to 1890 Nebraska, the official NIL collective of Husker Athletics. Every contribution, no matter how small, makes a big impact. Your support helps us recruit and retain top talent, bringing a winning program that can compete at the highest level. Visit 1890nebraska.com or text NEBNIL to 801-801 now.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with J-Tech Solar. J-Tech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. J-Tech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
There's only a few minutes left before Mom gets home and Dad needs a win.
He's had a long day, Mac.
Ugh, he certainly has. Will this All-Star deliver dinner on time, or will Takeout take the title?
Oh, look. He's changing up formation. What's he up to?
There's a snap. He's heading to the fridge. Something's happening.
He's going for it. I can't believe it.
Dad's got a bottle of Dorothy Lynch, and he's done it. The chicken, the salad, the veggies. He could go all the way.
Incredible flavor. Unbelievably easy. That's how you win with Dorothy Lynch. At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you.
Oh, thanks.
Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
Working together, Central Valley Ag unites with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. Add dollars to every acre by incorporating value-added grain into your operation with Central Valley Ag. From food corn and beans to non-GMOs and organics. For a limited time, enter to win a $10,000 bonus when you contract 25,000 bushels or more of value-added grain. Enter at cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Tired of worrying about what to make for dinner? Try Gary's Quick Steak. It's delicious, convenient, and easy to make in minutes as it cooks from frozen. It also has over 20 grams of protein per serving, is gluten-free, and is made with real beef and chicken. Enjoy sandwiches, enchiladas, stir-fry, quality sirloin, chicken, and corned beef ready in minutes. Simply sizzle, flip, and savor.
I promise you, if you try it, you're absolutely going to love it.
Visit our website to find a store near you.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Matt Coatney back with you on our Dakota Mac Husker Game Day show. Time now for a scoreboard update. It's brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery here from the Akrs Broadcast Center. In the Big Ten, Maryland and Rutgers have byes in terms of Big Ten teams this weekend. A lot of action in the 11 a.m. Central window. Number 4, Ohio State. At number 3, Penn State, the 11th meeting between these teams as top 10 opponents. And the second time when both teams were ranked in the top 5, and it has been all Penn State early on. They had a long 8-minute drive. Ryan Barker on a 29-yard field goal gave Penn State a 3-0 lead, and then a pick six. Will Howard threw it right to Zion Tracy, who jumped the route, took it back 31 yards to the house. It is 10-0 Penn State. They are late in the first quarter. Minnesota at number 24, Illinois, and the Fighting Illini are looking to start the season with 6 straight home wins for the first time since 2001. But early on, Minnesota has a 3-0 lead on a Dragan Kesich 20-yard field goal, 3-0 Minnesota. They are late in the first quarter of play. Northwestern at Purdue. The Wildcats haven't scored an offensive touchdown in their last 2 games, but they have today. They got a Luke Akrs 39-yard field goal to make it 3-0. Then Purdue tied it at 3 on a Spencer Porath 26-yard field goal. Then Northwestern got that touchdown on a Joseph Hyman II 51-yard run. They've got about 1 minute deep into the second quarter now, and Northwestern leads Purdue 10-3. Some intrigue in the Duke at number 5 Miami game is first-year Blue Devils head coach Manny Diaz, a former Hurricanes head coach, and it's all Miami early on. 3:44 to go in the first quarter, and the 5th-ranked Hurricanes lead Duke 14-0. Xavier Restrepo with a 34-yard TD pass from Cam Ward. Then Ward connected on a 4-yard TD pass to Cam McCormick. 14-0. They are late in the first quarter. Miami has the lead there. Number 19, Ole Miss at Arkansas, and Ole Miss leads at 7-3. They have a fumble recovery in the end zone for their score. Number 21, Army, is having to play their second-string quarterback today. 3-0. The Cadets have the early lead over Air Force. Maine at Oklahoma, a game that was moved up 2.5 hours because of expected inclement weather, and the Black Bears went down the field on their first drive and got a 3-yard pass from Carter Peavy to Cooper Heisey to take a 7-0 lead. On Oklahoma's next play, Javante Barnes took it 75 yards to the house. Replay, 74 yards and down at the 1, and then he took it in from 1 yard just a little bit later.
Trips right, handoff, Barnes up the middle, and he finishes it off anyway.
There we go.
Javante says, give me the ball, let me finish what I started. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
That's Toby Rowland on Sooners Radio from Learfield. It's 7-7 Maine and Oklahoma. I mean, Sooner fans cannot be happy with that score. They have just started the second quarter of play. NC State at the end of the first quarter leads Stanford 14-7. Virginia Tech has a 14-0 lead over Syracuse. They're midway through the first quarter of play. Eastern Michigan with a 7-0 lead over Toledo. End of the first quarter. UTSA with a 14-10 lead over Memphis. And they are nearing the end of the first quarter. Last night, Husker volleyball with a dominating 3-0 win over Wisconsin, and they've won 18 straight matches. They'll take on Northwestern tomorrow, and that's a look at the Nebraska Lottery scoreboard, Ben.
The Nebraska volleyball team is almost as good as you are.
I've not won 18 scoreboards in a row. There was a pretty weak scoreboard back in one of those early games, I think, this year, though.
You strike me as the type of guy to give full candy bars out at Halloween. Like, you got to be the fun house. Like, without question, got to be the fun house.
Because here's the thing. Whatever's left over, I get the leftover. I don't want any half stuff here.
Well, DB's the Halloween Scrooge. It's only right that you're on the other end of the spectrum. Coach, appreciate you as always. Thanks, Thank you. Well, DB, it's not for everybody. It's okay. That's the state motto for a minute. Nebraska, it's not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
Sure.
Hang in there.
Well, it's not going to be for the Bruins here today. Man, kind of a wild start to college football today. Pick 6 for Penn State.
Incredible.
Out of nowhere, Ohio State goes down, gets a touchdown, and cuts into the lead. But I'm not sure any of us expected especially as much as Drew Aller's running. For a guy that was questionable coming in, he's sure running the ball a lot. As I look up, he's running the ball again.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think even Nebraska showed when you don't have intentions on running your quarterback, it's something that's doable with some of the concepts that Ohio State likes to play. And you mentioned a wild day, and Minnesota's up on Illinois on the road, and Northwestern's already in a barn burner with Purdue. I know that one was at the top of your radar in terms of interesting games, but it doesn't seem eventful on the surface, but it might be some scores that will surprise us because I think the anticipation has let us down a little bit. You got a lot of helmet games that aren't as kind of sexy and appealing as maybe in the preseason, especially right here in the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, I love
with
that.
SC and Washington. And
right. Yeah.
Kind of lost a little luster. Michigan, Oregon's lost a little luster.
Definitely. I also look forward to seeing how this playoff picture is going to shake out. I think, we chatted with Adam Rittenberg last week about it, and it's almost a different approach to the postseason, knowing that there's that 12-team buffer in terms of playoff. You start to get the teams that maybe weren't expected to have years like they've had, and then you get teams like, Bama or Georgia that maybe have a loss or two more than they thought.
I mean, did you think that Alabama LSU would be an elimination game?
No, and that's what I'm saying.
And it may very well be an elimination game.
When you've got teams like Indiana and other undefeated teams that are making a push for this thing, it's going to be interesting, the seeding of it, and I think everyone's kind of bracing for impact with what's going to happen here at the tail end of the year.
I love the talk about can an 11-1 Indiana with a 116 strength of schedule get in, right? I mean, it's incredible.
Who the loss is to, by how much, when it is. I mean, all the variables that we're talking about. Certainly interesting. Thanks to Cody for giving us our scoreboard as always. Call a timeout if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors and ready to listen and provide support. We're going to step aside for another break. When we come back, we'll break down today's opponent, first-year head coach, Coach Morris with UCLA, and what the Bruins are bringing to Lincoln. That's coming up next.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
Bringing almost 80 years of wealth management experience, Bridges Trust understands the value of tradition and legacy. They've built their reputation by helping clients achieve their objectives by providing services in investment management, trust and estate planning, philanthropic consulting, and family office services. Committed to offering build-to-suit and specialized wealth advisory services, Bridges Trust prioritizes their clients' best interests to support the growth and preservation of legacies for future generations. Bridges Trust. Trust for generations.
To be a part of Nebraska medicine
Hi, welcome.
is to be a part of something extraordinary.
Nebraska Medicine, how may I help you?
Because these are the doors that open doors.
How are you?
To growth and opportunity for each other and for our community.
That went really well.
For those who know that the academic experience,
You know what? I agree.
the life experience that you get here is beyond what you can get anywhere else. And that's exactly why here is where you belong. Join us at nebraskamed.com/careers. Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary.
Plungers and store-bought chemicals can only go so far and can harm your drains. Call the professionals at John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical to get your drains flowing. We won't only make sure the clog is taken care of, but we will ensure your drains are completely clean so the clog will not come back. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And Electrical.
This is Big Red Football.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
You may have heard about Monolith, how right here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. How we'll soon be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. How we're investing hundreds of millions in multiple Nebraska facilities. You might have heard Monolith is changing the world. We're not. You are. Along with many other Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska made.
Hi, it's Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald.
And I'm Amy Just from the Lincoln Journal-Star.
Hey, listen, HuskerExtra.com and the Husker Extra mobile app have the best coverage of Nebraska sports.
Our reporting team shares features and analysis of all Husker sports, along with the latest recruiting news and more.
Plus, Husker Extra subscribers have access to our exclusive podcast, The Showdown, where we share our latest insights and expectations.
Go to HuskerExtra.com or search Husker Extra in your app store.
Download and subscribe today.
Being game day ready means bringing the die-hard passion, all in, all the time. And now, you can show your Husker pride everywhere you go with the Husker Visa Debit Card, free with FNBO free checking. Gear up, game on, and give it up for the Big Red. Every time you pay, the Husker Visa Debit Card, only at FNBO, the Bank of Husker Nation. Bring it. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
To be a part of Nebraska medicine
Hi, welcome.
is to be a part of something extraordinary.
Nebraska Medicine, how may I help you?
Because these are the doors that open doors.
How are you?
To growth and opportunity for each other and for our community.
That went really well.
For those who know that the academic experience,
You know what? I agree.
the life experience that you get here is beyond what you can get anywhere else. And that's exactly why here is where you belong. Join us at nebraskamed.com/careers. Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Nebraska is back at home for the first time in nearly a month as the UCLA Bruins are in town. The
The last time these teams squared up was all the way back in 2015 when the Huskers took down UCLA in the Foster Farms Bowl. A 37-29 classic victory for the Big Red sounded like this when Stanley Morgan Jr. scored the only touchdown of the third quarter.
The opening drive of the third quarter for Nebraska, 13th meeting between Nebraska and UCLA. Armstrong for the end zone, what a grab! My goodness, Stanley Morgan! Wow!
That play helped the Huskers take a second-half lead that they would never relinquish. Nebraska took down UCLA, and nearly a decade later, they are looking to do it once again, only this time as conference foes. The Bruins look very different from the previous squad Nebraska faced, as first-year head coach at UCLA, Deshaun Foster, has struggled out of the gate to get the Bruins going in his first season in the Big Ten. The Blue and Gold enter this week with a 2-5 record overall with just one conference win. That came against Rutgers a couple of weeks ago as they defeated the Scarlet Knights in Piscataway 35-32 heading into a bye week.
You bet. The 5-game losing streak is over. The Bruins have ruined Rutgers' homecoming. 35-32 is your final here in Piscataway today.
The Bruins are led by quarterback Ethan Garbers, who dominated in their last game. He went for Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week honors with 5 total touchdowns against the Scarlet Knights. However, Garbers leads a UCLA offense that ranks in the bottom 6 in the Big Ten, with just over 1,600 passing yards through 7 games. But if last game from UCLA's QB1 is a preview of what's to come for the rest of the year, then the rest of the Big Ten might have a problem on their hands. The former Elite 11 quarterback and 4-year player at UCLA has set new single-season career best numbers in yards and completions with nearly 1,500 yards in 6 games played this season with 8 touchdowns.
Garbers. Loya, end zone caught. Touchdown, UCLA.
Garbers dealt with some injury trouble earlier in the season, which led to Justin Martin getting some action at quarterback. The 6'4" redshirt sophomore from Inglewood completed nearly 70% of his passes this season, but all signs point to Garbers being the main signal caller today, especially after going for a season-best performance last game against Rutgers, where Garbers threw for 4 touchdowns and 383 yards through the air, while rushing for a season-high 48 yards and his lone rushing touchdown of the year.
2 receivers left on 2nd and 12. Garbers, with the pocket collapsing, will boogie to the left. He's in pursuit, sashays his way to the 40, 35-30. Garbers down the sideline. Look at him go. Touchdown, UCLA. 49 yards of improvisational theater. What a play by Garbers.
Some other main contributors offensively are TJ Harden and Keegan Jones. They both have been routine backs in the backfield alongside Garbers. Jalen Berger gets involved in the running game too, as all 3 of the main backs for UCLA have rushed for over 100 yards on the season. When you throw out the sack yardage on Garbers' rushing total, UCLA has 4 runners with over 100 yards on the year.
Jones off left tackle. Keegan Jones, another first down for UCLA.
Hard running by Keegan Jones, the veteran. He's been on this roster since 2019.
Direct snap to Keegan Jones. And he gets in. Touchdown, UCLA.
However, UCLA ranks last in rushing offense in the Big Ten, with only 452 yards accounted for through 7 games. 3 rushing touchdowns as a team also places them in the bottom of the conference. Nebraska's strong rush defense, which limited Ohio State to just 2.1 yards per carry last week, is looking to feast once again. In the passing game, UCLA utilizes the short game and even some throws to the running backs to get downfield. TJ Harden is second on the team with 238 receiving yards on the season to go along with his team-leading 180 yards rushing. Logan Loya has caught 3 touchdowns this year, which makes him the only player on UCLA with more than 1 so far. Maliki Motivau has the team-best 251 receiving yards and is the only Bruin other than Harden with more than 200 on the year. Nebraska's secondary has a shot to put a great performance together against a UCLA passing attack that has been very up and down this year.
Sturdivant, the man in motion. Garbers gets it out quick. TJ Harden, touchdown Bruins.
Defensively, UCLA has struggled to keep opponents off the scoreboard. 29 points per game allowed is the second highest average in the conference. Only Purdue's defense gives up more points. The Bruins secondary allows nearly 270 yards through the air on average, but the Blue and Gold are a top 5 rush defense in the Big Ten, as they are neck and neck with Nebraska in that category. The numbers tell you that this game could be a big chance for the Nebraska passing attack to get going, as Dylan Raiola was only able to add 152 yards through the air a week ago in Columbus against the Buckeyes. The series history is very close, as Nebraska leads it 7 wins to 6 losses all time. In the last 5 meetings, the Huskers have won 3 of the matchups and haven't lost to UCLA since 2013. It is just the 4th time where the Huskers and the Bruins have met in football since the turn of the century. A win today could clinch bowl eligibility for the first time since 2016, as Nebraska looks to end the longest drought among power conference programs. For the Huskers Radio Network, I'm Jacob Schrantz.
All right, thank you, Jacob. Appreciate that. Today's opponent, the UCLA Bruins, Deshaun Foster, first year as head coach of UCLA. I should be able to put this past myself by this point, being now November. I still can't get his media day stuff out of my head.
You wanted to familiarize yourself with where UCLA was located? Is that what it is?
The LA didn't give it away. Or the C part either.
Yeah, there's 2 of us now.
Yeah.
SC. Do you remember?
Unbelievable.
It was an absolute classic. We were like we thought he was like trolling us. We were like, I think he's joking.
I've been unprepared for speeches and tests my whole life, but I've never put out a performance like that. I don't think. You know, like
I'm Ben McLaughlin, the king of ill prepared.
What's the saying? Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. As we watch another score from Ohio State, they may run away with this.
Crazy. Well, it's not hard to figure out what stands out with UCLA on the tape. Defensive line, edge. Nebraska's O-line's going to have their hands full today. They disguise. They'll move guys. The Max Crosby, Bosa-type treatment. They'll move guys all around. Yeah. Communication's going to be big today.
It is. It's going to be huge. And you better find 93, and you better find 2. And Oladejo, and you referenced him earlier, playing on the outside. They move him around quite a bit. Their safeties are big and physical. They'll get down into the box. They will present some challenges for Nebraska in the run game. If there's hay to be made, I think offensively, it's over the top outside the numbers. Will Nebraska take advantage of it?
And I'm hoping to see kind of what we saw a little bit last week. Second drive, taking a shot to Nair. Yeah. Put the ball up. Let your big guys go eat.
I'm right there with you, and I think they will. And I kind of think Dylan gives us a little bit of a snapshot in his weekly press conferences early, kind of what we think is we're going to see. And I think shot plays will be part of it, even though I do think points will be hard to come by.
Garbers offensively for Ohio State, he'll put the ball in trouble. That you could tell they tried to scheme away from that against Rutgers. A lot of quick throws to the tight. They used the tight ends a ton against Rutgers last victory. They had coming off the bye, but I would expect more of the same. Try to get Garbers comfortable early with some easy completions, and of course Eric Bieniemy, former Chiefs offensive coordinator, Washington offensive coordinator, now in charge of the UCLA offense. Probably going to do everything he can to get Garbers comfortable early, but also not afraid to chuck the ball up. And Nebraska's, we heard from Buford earlier, Nebraska's corners are going to be tested today. And that's going to be a story because Hartzog, best case scenario is a maybe. Sounds like Hill's going to try and play with the foot. Otherwise, it's Jeremiah Charles and whoever else they've got.
Yeah, they may go young in some spots. And you're right. It'll be 40-plus pass attempts if they get enough snaps. And UCLA's okay with that. And, you know, you think the horizontal passing game drives our fans nuts. Wait till they watch UCLA. I mean, I'll throw the ball to the backs. Their quick game is horizontal, and Garbers does get the ball out of his hands in a hurry. He definitely knows where he wants to go with the football. So I think pre-snap disguising will be huge today.
Yeah, for both teams, I think that's definitely going to be a chess match, and you'll see Tony White against Eric Bieniemy on that side of things as well with what UCLA wants to do. And weather could certainly play a factor in that as well. We'll talk a little bit more about the weather as we roll along here, but definitely something to be paying attention to throughout the course of the afternoon. Hey, Nebraska fans, some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Visit Allstate.com or call a local agent for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. We'll take another time out here on the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show, but before that, let's get a check of the roads. Here's Trooper Brett.
Good afternoon, fans. As we get closer to today's matchup against UCLA, traffic is starting to build in spots. No major issues to report on I-80. However, we are seeing slowdowns on I-180 southbound and Highway 6 in Lincoln. You can also anticipate stop-and-go traffic on Highway 6 in Gretna as you approach the I-80 westbound on-ramp. NSP does have a trooper in that area conducting traffic control, which is helping to alleviate some of that congestion. If you're coming into Lincoln from the east and are looking to avoid congestion, you can exit at 27th Street. And if you're driving into Lincoln from the west, consider taking Highway 777 southbound to Rosa Parks Way. Fans, every game plan leaves room for adjustments, and if yours involves alcohol, call an audible and have a sober driver drive you home safely. I'm Trooper Brett with the Nebraska State Patrol Traffic Report on the Huskers Radio Network. This traffic report was brought to you by the NDOT.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
Active Liver is one of many award-winning health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at Amazon.com or for a volume discount, visit newnordicusa.com. Available as a tablet or delicious sugar-free gummy. Protect and help your liver the easy and effective way with Active Liver at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification on the Huskers Radio Network. This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
Gary's Quick Steak is 100% sirloin and cooks from frozen in minutes.
Hi, my name is Gary Rower. I developed America's fastest cooking Philly steak from my 2 cheesesteak restaurant chains, one of which became a top 100 chain in the country. Faster means more great tasting meals in minutes. I promise you, if you try it, you're absolutely going to love it. My Quick Steak can be found in stores near you or buy online.
Look for Gary's Quick Steak at your local grocery and club stores.
Like a great defense, you want the right coverage at the right time for your team. You'll find both with Elevate by Medica, your employer health plan built for Nebraska, offering lower costs, travel coverage, and access to more than 3,600 in-network doctors across the Cornhusker state. Affordable coverage and care close to home for squads of all sizes. You're not just covered, you're cared for. Learn more at medica.com.
We got your back.
Feel like you're always on the run? Me too. As an independent financial professional, I help all kinds of busy people. Young families planning for college, couples working toward retirement, people securing their legacy. Wherever you are in life, Emeritus can help you get more out of life with insurance, employee benefits, and financial services. You're moving fast. Let's help make sure you're on the path to a fulfilling life. Find your next step at emeritus.com. Insurance products issued by Emeritus Life Insurance Corp.
To be a part of Nebraska medicine
Hi, welcome.
is to be a part of something extraordinary.
Nebraska Medicine, how may I help you?
Because these are the doors that open doors.
How are you?
To growth and opportunity for each other and for our community.
That went really well.
For those who know that the academic experience,
You know what? I agree.
the life experience that you get here is beyond what you can get anywhere else. And that's exactly why here is where you belong. Join us at nebraskamed.com/careers. Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Something big is happening at Hy-Vee. We've just lowered thousands and thousands of prices on thousands and thousands of items in every aisle and in every department. Online, too. And on many of your favorite products. We've even matched prices with some of the biggest discount stores in the country. Because we get it, times are still tough. So we'll continue to work hard to bring you new lower prices on thousands of items. Things are looking different at Hy-Vee. Come see for yourself.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network. This is the Game Changer.
It's an empty set. 3 to the near side this time, 2 to the far side. Snap back to McNamara. Has it, holds it, and being rushed, gets hit, and goes down. Ty Robinson's first sack as a Husker.
Ty Robinson, 6'6", 310-pound defensive lineman.
Back to throw. Gets pressure, gets hit, goes down. First sack of the game, Ty Robinson with the sack for the Huskers.
Senior, Gilbert, Arizona.
I just think the world of them. Honestly, I just think the absolute world of them. Guys like Ty Robinson are why guys like me coach. You know, just that daily interaction, that daily relationship. Ty's bringing that group along, too. You know, Ty's bringing that group along. And what I love is when they leave, their legacy will be here. And Ty talks a lot about the guys who were here before him. So it wasn't like there wasn't great leadership in the D-line room before that. You know, Coach Dawson, all those guys did a great job. Ty talks a lot about that. But Ty, Jamari, Nash, I can't imagine a better group. And next year when it's Cam and Riley and those guys, I don't think we'll skip a beat.
All right, today's game changer, Ty Robinson. I feel like there's a lot of different areas we could go here. I think maybe knowing what we know now, Jeremiah Charles could certainly be in this conversation as well, DB. But I wanted to bring up Ty for not so much necessarily for this game, but the treatment this dude has gotten week in and week out, like definition of doing the dirty work and sticking his nose in there. He's got to just be bruised and battered Sunday mornings with the treatment he gets every week.
I mean, the double teams, the chips, the pins, the wham blocks. Like, he does a lot of the heavy lifting, man, and he's one tough cookie, that's for sure.
When you say football's not for the faint of heart, that's partly who you're talking to.
100%. What I said last week, Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be D linemen. It is rough and tough down there, and he embodies that.
And he embraces it.
Oh, he loves it. And got a smile, and he's earned his keep.
And we've had the B&B, not Ben and Benning, but the Bear and Bullock brothers. We've talked a lot about the middle backers. They don't do what they do without number 9 and number 0 in there, giving them the freedom to run around.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Those guys, a lot of times, you see them go back to the huddle and they back pat the D-line. It's like, hey, thanks for keeping us clean so we can run and hit. That's how it happens.
Yeah, that's what it is. Here's the analogy. We're the middle linebackers, and Josh is the D lineman.
Yeah, 100%.
We get the microphones, but
everybody asks me about him every week. Like, is he really that guy? And I'm like, yeah, that and then some.
Yeah, he's that dude.
The gentle spirit that's really good at what he does.
Now, I don't like his matchup against Ty Robinson so much. But
I mean, who else sandbags 40 minutes on their marathon time?
Yeah,
40 minutes.
You don't need to sandbag anything. You just say marathon and I'm out. It could be about anything. Like, that doesn't even need to be running.
What was it last week? He was eating something, and we were like, that's not going to treat you very well. He's like, just calm, cool. I'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, it was burrito.
Yeah. Kind of like when we're like 18 minutes over break. I'll be fine.
Stop worrying about me. Don't you worry about this next stupid thing you're about to say, okay? But I do want to talk a little Jeremiah Charles here as well. And his trajectory.
Affectionately dubbed JJ.
Saw his flash a little bit and started hearing some of the progress he made last year. And you say JJ didn't really have much choice this year. You're like, hey, you're in. Go play. And you saw it in Colorado. You saw it in some other big moments when he's having to cover not just run-of-the-mill guys, like elite Sunday prospect type receivers.
Yeah, he's really competitive, highly athletic. I think we saw our first real dose of him actually in a different sport. He was dunking a basketball.
Yeah.
Last year. I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty athletic. And he is that. He's confident. He was a little dinged up early, kind of slowed his progress in fall camp while he was trying to get healthy. But he was a guy that was projected to make a run at that starting job. So I think they have the utmost confidence in him, and that's for sure.
Yeah, and again, UCLA will trust their guys to go make plays with Sturdivant, and they've got a number of options. They've been loving the tight ends lately too.
Yeah,
so
Sturdivant's a good player. That's a good pull.
Yeah,
he's a good player.
And he's one of the few guys that they'll throw it up to and say, go make a play. So we'll see how it goes. We went with Ty Robinson today, more of just appreciation for what this guy's been doing. Hard to believe we're now into the month of November and this guy hasn't been, the focus of what we talk about. But and these are easy guys to take for granted in a program. It wasn't that long ago Jared Crick was sitting in your seat too. Guys like that maybe don't show up in the stat columns all the time that really allow Tony White to do some of the things he wants to do defensively because you have the ability to do so with guys like Ty and Nash. So
you don't get the MJs and the Jamaris and
James
Williams without the guys occupying the middle.
Yeah, so this is more of a salute to Ty and the work he's been doing this year. Certainly look forward to a big effort for him as well, because another guy that deserves it. Highly recruited player, could have gone anywhere in the country. If I remember right, we were battling out Clemson for him. Yeah. And chose to come to Lincoln, and he's lived up to the high profile recruiting profile that Husker fans had to him and some. So look forward to Ty doing some damage against the Bruins again here today. We'll step aside for our final break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. It's coming up next.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey, son, can you hand me that vice grip?
As any farmer or rancher knows, having the right tools in the toolbox is important. That goes for your ag lending as well. If you're considering expansion, restructuring debt, or purchasing equipment, call Dakota Mac. We have a toolbox full of lending solutions to help you with your ag financing needs.
Hi, it's Boyd Minray from Dakota Mac. Call me at 402-463-4637. Learn how Dakota Mac products can work for you.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Neese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks, making them America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150 and Ford Super Duty, the 2024 North American Truck of the Year. This is the next generation of built Ford tough.
Get a 2024 Ford Super Duty for 1.9% with Ford Credit Financing, or get $2,000 bonus cash only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing.
And electrical.
Hey, Husker fans, Coach Rule here, thanking you for your incredible support of Nebraska football. We're working every day to bring championship football back to Nebraska. Just as important is your contribution to 1890 Nebraska, the official NIL collective of Husker athletics. Every contribution, no matter how small, makes a big impact. Your support helps us recruit and retain top talent, bringing a winning program that can compete at the highest level. Visit 1890nebraska.com or
Text NEBNIL to 801-801 now.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with J-Tech Solar. J-Tech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. J-Tech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
There's only a few minutes left before Mom gets home and Dad needs a win. He's had a long day, Mac. He certainly has. Will this All-Star deliver dinner on time, or will Takeout take the title?
Oh, look. He's changing up formation. What's he up to?
There's a snap. He's heading to the fridge. Something's happening. He's going for... I can't believe it. Dad's got a bottle of Dorothy Lynch, and he's done it. The chicken, the salad, the veggies. He could go all the way.
Incredible flavor. Unbelievably easy. That's how you win with Dorothy Lynch.
At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you.
Aw, thanks.
Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
Working together, Central Valley Ag unites with our farmers to feed a hungry planet. Add dollars to every acre by incorporating value-added grain into your operation with Central Valley Ag. From food corn and beans to non-GMOs and organics. For a limited time, enter to win a $10,000 bonus when you contract 25,000 bushels or more of value-added grain. Enter at cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
The Weather Impact segment brought to you by SOS Heating and Cooling with fair prices, honest opinions, and longer warranties. They are the Omaha area's trustworthy company since 1950. And this is worth talking about today, DB. 58 degrees, high probability of rain. Ball's going to be wet. This is going to affect teams that want to put the ball in the air.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I'm just hoping Nebraska, gets off to a hot start, because the quicker they start, the more those temps will chill, if that makes any sense.
If only it was like 20 degrees cooler for those Cali boys.
Tell you what, as physical as this game could be, with each hard hit, brings those degrees down slowly when you're on the receiving end of them.
No question about it. Well, the rain's certainly going to play a factor, I would think, at some point in time. And we'll definitely keep our eye. It wasn't that long ago that the wind was the big point of conversation, and that certainly affected things, throwing the ball. So the weather will certainly play a factor at some point today, and how that is to be determined, we'll see. Now let's move next, DB, to our ground game report. Both teams, I wouldn't say offense's success is determined by the running game, but I think if either team is able to get the running game going today, that could be the difference, especially considering what we just talked about. You could tell UCLA had a much more concerted effort to try against Rutgers. Didn't necessarily work. Don't love running the ball at all on third downs. They've run the ball on third down 3 times all season long. What are you looking for here from the running game, specifically from the Nebraska side of things?
Yeah, so I think they may try to throw to set up the run just by spreading UCLA out, especially with that big, strong front that the Bruins will trot out there. But the other thing is pay attention to third and shorts, third and manageables. UCLA doesn't get off the field on third down. They're the worst in the country, about a 57% conversion clip. So if Nebraska can run the ball, especially on third down, it'll give them a chance to keep drives going.
Our ground game report brought to you by Brandt Industries. Make sure your ground game is up to speed with the Brandt high-speed disc for a better field finish in fewer passes. All right, and finally, Damon, before we sign off, let's get our Prairie Valley keys to today's performance, brought to you by Prairie Valley Seeds. Grow without limits. A couple of things that you're watching for today.
I just don't want UCLA, you referenced it earlier, to get the ground game going. They haven't ran the ball well. They don't really, I don't think, have a ton of confidence in it. I think it's more for show. They'll throw this thing 40-plus times. Don't let UCLA get the ground game going. And the other thing is, take care of the football. No gimmies on the road against a team coming off a bye. Make it as tough possible early by making them earn everything they get.
Couple for me that I have my you mentioned the big one, third downs, I think is huge, on both sides. Right? I mean, at UCLA, allowing opponents to pick up third downs, unprecedented rate. If Nebraska can keep drive sustained, keep the ball moving, keep UCLA off the field, I feel like they're going to get impatient and maybe take some shots that they shouldn't. Garbers will turn it over. He's thrown 9 picks this year, so certainly have to be hungry there. That leads into my next one. Cornerback play, I think, will be huge. If Nebraska's corners step up to the plate and play one of their better games, I really like Nebraska's ability to come out with a win today. And another thing that I noticed that Rutgers didn't do very well, which was surprising knowing what we know about Greg Schiano's Scarlet Knights, they didn't tackle very well on the edge. Yeah. And so UCLA was able to get those tight end quick 5-yard out routes, throw those quick hitches. And I know wide receiver screens are a sore subject around these parts this day and age, but they love to get the ball out on the edge and make Rutgers tackle them, and they didn't do a very good job doing that.
It's going to be interesting. That's kind of the game within the game. But if Nebraska does tackle well, I will bode well for them today.
I know there's certain things that we hope Dylan does better. There are certainly some throws that we expected them to hit, but what's it going to be a successful day for 15 offensively?
Well, number one, you want to take care of the football. Those interceptions have crept up here the last couple of games, and I'd like to see him get off to a good start by just kind of ripping a few, right? Start feeling good about yourself. We saw the legs come into play a little bit last week, and I think the vertical passing game will be that this week.
Yeah, and then, of course, the special teams aspect of it. Every time, and I think you and I are kind of on the same page, expecting a little bit lower scoring game. It'd be great to see the special teams, specifically the field goal kicking, answer what they did last week.
Yeah, I know you're not going to get a 54-yarder every week, but if you have consistency and confidence, the 2C, C squared, gives Nebraska an awful good chance, because I think points will be hard to come by.
Well, certainly about to find out what happens here in just about 2 hours or so, right over our shoulders at Memorial Stadium. DB, appreciate it as always. Let's go get it done.
Yeah, you and me, from your lips to God's ears. Let's go GBR.
Damon Benning, our color analyst, you'll hear him here in just a little bit. Back up in the booth, Nebraska and UCLA getting ready to go at it at Memorial Stadium. Huskers trying for that elusive 6th win, get themselves into postseason play for the first time in far too long. And the Bruins trying to back up what they did on the last time out for them and getting their first Big Ten Conference win, beating Rutgers. So both teams with stuff on the line here today. That's going to wrap it up here today for the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show. Coming up next, the voice of the Huskers, Greg Sharp, has countdown to kickoff. He'll take you for the next hour as we inch closer to kick between the Cornhuskers and the Bruins. Again, my thanks to everyone a part of this one. DB, thanks to Jessica and Marquise Buford for our Cornhusker conversation, Jacob Schrantz for our opponent preview, and of course, Josh Hilkeman for producing the buttons each and every week. The A-Team, the voice of the Huskers, Greg Sharp, coming up next.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
Tired of worrying about what to make for dinner? Try Gary's Quick Steak. It's delicious, convenient, and easy to make in minutes as it cooks from frozen. It also has over 20 grams of protein per serving, is gluten-free, and is made with real beef and chicken. Enjoy sandwiches, enchiladas, stir-fry, quality sirloin chicken and corned beef ready in minutes. Simply sizzle, flip, and savor.
I promise you, if you try it, you're absolutely going to love it.
Visit our website to find a store near you.
There's something to be said for